Welcome to Manna at the Tap, a podcast of Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community, and we refer to the daily Bible reading as our spiritual manna. It nourishes our souls, fostering spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. Today is Friday, February the 20th, 2026, the third day of Lent. The lectionary reading is from the Old Testament book of Jonah as we continue his story. The story begins with Prophet Jonah being told, "Get up, go to the great city of Nineveh." However, instead of going to Nineveh, Jonah boarded a ship heading in the opposite direction. God sent a fierce storm that threatened to tear the boat apart. Jonah told the sailors that the storm was his fault. His God had caused the storm because he was fleeing from God, and all they needed to do was to pick him up and throw him overboard so the sea would calm down for them. They did, and the waters calmed once again. A large fish swam past, swallowed Jonah, and after 3 days it spat Jonah out onto dry land. In yesterday's lectionary reading of Jonah chapter 3, God gave Jonah another opportunity to go to Nineveh, and this time he obeyed. The message he delivered was brief. In 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed. Everyone, including the king, believed Jonah and called for a citywide fast. The king instructed that everyone, even the animals, fast, wear burlap, and sit in the dust, hoping that God would reconsider and not punish them. The people were happy, but Jonah was unhappy. The lectionary reading today is Jonah chapter 4. Jonah was angry with the Lord and threw a tantrum because the Lord changed his mind and spared the people of Nineveh. He understood the Lord to be a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love, one who relents from sending calamity. But he believed the people of Nineveh deserved punishment. The Lord asked Jonah why he was so angry, but Jonah chose not to answer. He was so distressed that he wanted to die rather than go on living. Jonah then went out into the desert to pout and wait to see what would happen to the city. The Lord caused a leafy plant to grow quickly, providing shade for Jonah. Jonah was very pleased with the plant. But by the next morning, a worm had eaten the plant, leaving it dead. The sun was now blazing hot, and then a scorching east wind blew, making Jonah feel faint and wishing he would die. Now Jonah is angry at the plant. The Lord tried to explain to Jonah that his concern was about the plant, even though he had no control over its sudden growth and death. However, Jonah didn't care about the 120,000 people in Nineveh or the animals. The Lord told Jonah that he, God, cared for the people and the animals in Nineveh because he is a gracious, compassionate God, slow to anger and full of love. You see, Jonah forgot that he had received God's grace more than once. And sometimes we are like Jonah and forget that God has shown us his grace and mercy many times.